Season 2, Episode 1. Take me out to the ball game. Carrie meets the new Yankee, Joe, at a baseball game with the girls. Miranda gets fed up with the girls always talking about men. Samantha gets frustrated with James, who has a tiny... And Charlotte dates a guy who has a tendency to scratch his crotch.
Nice. And we're back.
Baby, I am buzzing after getting to watch this episode, after getting my Samantha back. This is all I ever needed.
I know.
Ever.
And there were so many iconic moments and looks, especially Miranda had a couple looks in this episode where I was like, I just remember, like the second that I saw them in that diner, I was like, this is where she's about to freak out on them. And put on that stupid hat.
I'll say now, hi everyone. Welcome.
Hi.
It's the Pod in the City podcast with Amanda and Joan. And we are here today to recap season 2, episode 1 of Sex in the City. Now, if you've been listening, or if you're new, we just got off of recapping season 1 of the worst show. I'm just kidding. It's a show. And just like that, you know, the sequel series to this amazing show, Sex in the City.
So good to be back. Oh my God. There was one moment that I was like, that was so well done. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I can't wait to get into it because now I do want to start off by saying that if you're watching us on YouTube, click subscribe. We're trying to reach as many subscribers as we can. We're inching along, but we hope that you'll maybe watch this. And if you like this, we also do if you like us, basically, we also talk a bunch of shit on Mondays live. So check that out too. Also hit the like. You can also hit the dislike if you want. Leave us a comment, whether you think we're great or if you think we're terrible. Leave us a comment. We love it. Anyway, also, because we're back in Sex in the City now, I forgot all about this, and I don't think we have a story to read today, but I'm hoping that you guys...
We have a couple people that submitted a bunch of stories, but honestly, I forgot about it too. So we'll just make this a nice, clean episode until we get dirty.
So what we're hoping is that maybe that you guys could send us your salacious or funny or
embarrassing,
weird sex stories that we could share at the very end of our episode. Now, also, please, check us out on Patreon. Now, if you like listening to us, we also have a Patreon. And this month, we're mixing it up over there, baby. And we're doing
usually we
Pride
recap.
Month.
Oh, sorry. Usually,
go ahead,
Pride Month. Usually we recap Girls, Golden Girls, Designing Women, and Broad City. But we're taking the month of Pride.
So if you like us recapping TV shows and all of that, guys, there's a million more hours over there. It's only $6 a month. But as Amanda was going to say, it is Pride Month and it is Joan month. And this week we're doing all about gay music, baby. Now, we are not authorities on gayness. Now, I am gay and Amanda is, I think they call that, I won't say it on here. She's a fruit fly, right?
Yeah.
She's always been surrounded by
Do you want to say hag? So I feel like
I didn't want to say that.
Hag nowadays indicates fat. So
no, I just didn't want to say the first part of it.
Oh, you say that all the time.
Yeah, well, anyway. So, join us because we're gonna do our relationship to gay music.
We're not trying to teach anyone. Like, if you want to go learn something about gay history, this is not your podcast. This is just going to be us getting excited and talking about like, oh my God, that moment was so crazy. I mean, it's a lot more as like. For me, it'll just be like, oh, that was a cool moment for me. But I'm pretty like, I grew up with music theater, and we're also going to have a whole. What? Yeah, I mean,
there's going to be a whole section on that about divas. See, I'm thinking we need to do, sections. So I'm thinking a divas moment, and who doesn't love divas? We all grew up in that time when divas VH1. Oh wait.
Yeah, but I know
Amanda's from Canada. So did you see VH1 divas? Divas Live?
No, but I grew up in a very fun home-esque house. So
Yeah.
I know the divas. Like I know, but I was watching My Name is Barbara, the special when I was like 6 years old. Like
okay.
I know my divas, mostly Barbara Streisand. Bette Midler.
Well, guys,
Judy.
I mean, if those aren't gay, then I don't know what's gay enough, baby.
But we're gonna do music, and then next week we're gonna do TV show, like iconic gay moments in TV and movies, and then we're gonna end it out with the gayest week
musicals, baby. That one could scarily end up being 5 hours long.
I can't wait. We like to geek out about musical theater. We're the two most like self-hating music theater people ever, but like we like to geek out. So tomorrow I'm going to the Music Man with Justine. I've had a countdown for the past week. I'm like tomorrow at this time we will be sitting in the seats at Music Man.
Next week I'm going to Newsies.
Ooh. Well, anyway, gay musicals.
Oh baby, I can't. Anyway, so anyway, there's that, friends. So please try us out on our Patreon if you like listening to our voices. That's what it's all about.
Let's get into this episode of Sex and the City. And by the way, if you just want to listen to this, we're over there on the free feed, Apple, iTunes, Spotify. You can just listen to us.
I figure that most people are probably listening to us over there.
Some people really like you. Some people watch the podcast nowadays, Joan. It's a new world.
Well, what I want to say is what I was kind of getting into there at the beginning of, referencing that we had just got off of just like that. I will say that felt, I was starting to get used to it at the end.
Yeah, you kind of just give
I think you just fall into it enough.
Stop a little bit.
But when you rewatch this, the pacing. Like
Charlotte's storyline is wrapped up like that, but it ends with a really good little button on like her story. And I was like, that was perfect.
If you guys have been listening, if you're brand new here, again, go check out our first season of Sex and the City and our first season of And Just Like That.
We're gonna come off bitter bitches in season 2 or in the And Just Like That season, but we still I think of most of And Just Like That we were bitching so much because we were like, but remember in Sex and the City how they
and that's what I'm trying to get at is when you watch And Just Like That, you have these long drawn out bullshit, and when you are watching this, baby, it's clipping so that you can have that moment that we are talking about that we'll talk about later. But that moment,
is the same moment as me.
I think
it's like
so.
Right toward the end, like right at the end, pretty much.
I'm hoping so.
Okay. We'll
but there is a moment that because of the pacing, the clipping along, this moment is earned.
I couldn't breathe during it. I was like, oh my God.
Exactly. And now imagine if that was thrown into And Just Like That. Because
it wouldn't have been earned.
It would have been
like, all right.
The pace wouldn't have been anything
because it would have been overproduced, I think.
It would have been blown out.
Yeah. This was just gritty, this moment.
Real. This just looks real.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited to be back.
Everyone's likable. Nobody's like had a brain transplant. I laughed out loud at Miranda's lines here.
I laughed so many times in this. I cackled. In fact, I recorded a clip, but then forgot that we weren't doing clips. It was of Samantha because
I think we're getting another tornado coming here. It got really dark.
Samantha.
Yeah.
She is my queen. The part where she's like, can you imagine having this? And she's like, it's terrible. And
she'll make me laugh.
Oh my God.
Oh, hang on, John. I need to pause.
Is there
really
a ghost?
Quick. No, but I love George in the basement and he's going to start having
God.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
And we're back. Now, if you guys enjoy this type of jankery, please stay with us. Because we're happy to have you.
My cat, George Costanza, it's a whole system. He has to eat on the top step to the basement, and then I have to close the door completely, like slam it shut so that it actually locks. But then because it's wet food, and then I have to adjust it so that it's closed, but not completely closed so that Walter thinks it's closed, but that the cat could like push it open if it wanted to, and I didn't do that. So he started having a meltdown. Now I'm out of breath from running up and downstairs.
Well, anyway,
let's get into some news and gossip. All right, nothing huge, but finally, what we've all been waiting for. Cynthia Nixon has broken her silence about Sarah Ramirez.
What now?
So,
let's see it.
Let's see. Well, actually, first, hang on. Can you talk about this picture really quick first?
Okay, as we have established, this show hates Lisa Todd Wexley. Now, if you're just listening to this and have never watched And Just Like That, Lisa Todd Wexley is one of the add-on characters in the attempt to replace the irreplaceable Samantha Jones. I'm sorry. They've added 3 extra characters, and 2 of them have now been let go anyway. So they hate Lisa Todd Wexley. Now, personally, I like this outfit. Personally, she's holding like a planet project in front of it, which
she's holding a solar system thing. But honestly, when I first saw this picture, I kind of assumed for a second that this was part of her costume, which should tell you a lot about how they dressed her in the first season, because this would have been an outfit.
I thought that was something hanging off of it, and I was like, oh, thank God, at least it's a science project. Now, I will say, this woman is so beautiful. The shoes are really cute. The legs, everything that's going on here is working for me. Now, I don't know what's happening with the hair. I don't think they're giving her the right hair budget, the right hair people. Something's happening there. It's not good. This woman is... Imagine if she just had put Charlotte's hair on. Now, maybe it's because Charlotte has hair like that. They need her to have like an opposing... Okay. I'm having an epiphany moment. I am having an epiphany here, Amanda. Are you ready for it?
No,
you don't seem very excited for my epiphany.
Because I have a thought, too, that I'm trying to not let escape my head.
I think I've just put 2 and 2 together. The reason they dress Lisa Todd Wexley so badly and so garishly and so messed up is so that she looks opposite to Charlotte, who has these very put together looks, these very tailored looks. Because they're doing that with the hair. Charlotte has the long... If Lisa Todd Wexley had the exact same hair as Charlotte, it wouldn't be as interesting visually. Now, if I reference this to Miranda and Naya, they're presenting 2 very different outfits, everything. And Che and Carrie presenting 2 very opposing looks.
Seema and Carrie.
Okay, Seema. Okay, well, I guess I was kind of...
And now that we've gone through that, it's become blatantly obvious that they chose to have a person of color to opposite every single...
You didn't realize that?
I mean, but now it's really just even more like shoved in our face.
Personally, I think that the show probably should have had that from the start.
Obviously.
Why couldn't Miranda have been Black, or why couldn't Charlotte have been Latinx, or,
Well, okay, I would love to see Lisa Todd Wexley with just a Halle Berry haircut, because her face is beautiful enough.
Oh my God, same.
I would love to see it. Anyway, that's not really news. That was just part of this article.
And that has nothing to do with Sex and the City, I guess, technically, because we're in...
Well, but we're giving news and gossip.
That brought me back to my trauma, Amanda. That really brought me back to my trauma.
Okay, anyway. I think this is the first one. Is it this
one?
Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, so Cynthia Nixon gave an interview about Che Diaz. Would you like me to go ahead and read this, since I am...
Sure.
And John got very upset with me, because he's like, can you make the font bigger next time? And I was like, I do not have good eyesight. And then he got so offended.
I did.
And you wear glasses, so I don't even know why you'd be offended by that.
I can completely read it. I'm just saying, if you did crop... Now, this is... I like to be in charge, of course, here. But if you did crop that bottom section... and the top section, it would appear larger.
No,
for some people who are visually impaired.
The reason I leave the website in is so that we don't get dinged for not giving credit. Joan
is okay.
Yeah, because podcasters get in trouble for not stating sources, and I always write down my sources, so then I get too carried away and excited that I forget to say
So tell me, she gave this
Yeah, I don't know what
Cynthia
the
Nixon
question
gave
was.
this interview to BuzzFeed.
No, she gave it to one, and then apparently they sold it to every other like online. Because if you look up and just like that news for like today, it's just this exact same article just on different websites. So kudos to whoever originally gave this. But so she said, I'm very aware of the hate that exists online, but I have to protect my own mental health and my. Oh no, sorry, this is Sarah Ramirez that said this. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Go back.
I was wondering why there was a photo of Sarah Ramirez.
Yes. Okay. So Sarah Ramirez is very aware of the hate that exists online, but I have to protect my own mental health and my own artistry, which I totally understand her saying because people were pretty vicious.
I get that, but I think you also are probably saying this now that you've been fired. Would you be saying that I need to protect my artistry if you hadn't been fired? If you were still in season 3, would you be talking about protecting your artistry? I don't think you were too worried about protecting your artistry when you did the show in the first place, babe. Watching the first season back, honey, is that artistry? Now, I am not a Che hater. You guys know I totally came around on Che. I love
not
Che
as a person, but Che as
a piece of the puzzle.
Yes, exactly. Not a prop for the show, but yeah, a piece of the show that needed to be there.
So I'm curious of how they're gonna. We did drop. I will say we were some of the first people to drop that news that Rosie was gonna be on. So I'm curious to see if Rosie's gonna play the Che the antagonist. There has to this show needs an antagonist. Remember Bunny? Remember we just need someone to now they gave us Che to hate, I guess, but I don't think they intentionally
did that. No,
they need to give us someone to hate.
They go on to say, that's way more important to me because I'm a real human being. I'm really proud of the representation that we've created. We have built a character who is a human being. I don't know about that. Well, no, narcissists do exist, I guess. Who is imperfect, who's complex, who is not here to be liked, who's not here for anybody's approval. They're here to be themselves. Sarah said at this time.
I think that's interesting, but I'm not sure that I felt that Now, I haven't seen season 2. So maybe there's going to be a big breakthrough scene where we talk about how, Che Diaz is living their true authentic self and they don't care what anyone thinks. But all I saw in the first season was Che doing their comedy concert with uproarious applause, them doing full pride shows to uproarious applause, them doing a full packed club gig to farewell and to announce that they were farewelling everyone.
Yeah. There was this woman in the back that just had finger symbols. Wish they all could.
And a fez hat, that the Shriners wear. Huh? What I'm saying is I did not see that struggle in your character. So I'm confused. I get this. These feel to me like the words of someone who should have waited a couple months until after they were fired to do this.
I don't actually know when they gave this.
Well, they weren't fired that long ago.
I know, but this quote was put in the article to get to this really profound thing that Cynthia Nixon said. So I don't know when Sarah said this, but I'm also not this. But it sounds like this was pretty recent because they seem bitter with all this. I'm also not in control of the writing. I welcome the passion that folks are bringing to the table around the representation. But in real life, there are lots of different human beings who show up to the table speaking truth to power in myriad ways. Oh my God. If I was sitting at a table with this person, I'd be like, all right, you need to relax a bit though.
We get it. That's what
we get it.
This to me, and again, now if you guys have been listening, I am woke as fuck. So I am totally all about I believe there should be representation in every single thing. It's very important. Just the idea of being able to, if you live this existence as a gay kid growing up, having the awakening of having gay characters on television, in movies, are what made me feel okay in my existence. If I had grown up in a time when that, in the 60s and all that, it's not portray, so I believe in representation, but this sounds like word salad. And maybe what I just said was word salad. But they're saying, but in real life, there was a lot of different human beings who show up to the table, speaking truth to power in myriad ways.
And they all land differently with different people. And Che Diaz has their own audience where they that they speak to, who really get a kick out of what they're doing. Okay, I mean that's fine. It's the writing was bad, Sarah. Let's just all say that. But anyway, so now
I think though their performance wasn't that great of the writing, unfortunately.
We'll never know. But anyway, this is what Cynthia says. As for Sarah's exit from the series, Cynthia told Variety. This is
I think we read this at one point.
This just came out yesterday.
Oh, okay. Oh, this was Cynthia, because remember,
Cynthia.
Michael Patrick King had come out and say that the character had run its course.
So she's just really parroting what he said. But I put this in just so you could see this sweet picture of Michael Patrick King, our favorite. Cynthia says, I think they felt, and Michael Patrick felt, that the character has run its course. Yeah, I'm sure that the actress that lost their paycheck was like, yeah, no, I just think she ran its course. Ran its course. They came in and shook everything up, and then their arc was completed. And that's pretty much it. That's the big news of the week, is that Cynthia Nixon is just like,
so their arc was completed, because I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I have a bad feeling. I'm having a bad feeling that Rosie's going to be banging down Miranda, and that's not what we want.
I don't know if Rosie would agree to do that. I'd trust Rosie a little more, but I would have thought that I would have trusted all of these people.
But Cynthia Nixon has Tonys and shit.
Well, anyway, let's get on to the actual Emmys recap. Pod in the City, Sex in the City, season 2, episode 1. Take me out to the ball game. This is a great screenshot you got here, by the way.
I took about 500.
Yeah, no, you got the good one.
And scrolled through.
I smiled when I looked at this. I was like, you did a really good job catching that. You got the motion with the Charlotte dropping her beer.
Now, I'm wondering, have we been putting timestamps in?
No.
Because should we?
Do you want me to? I mean, we could.
Because maybe.
I put timestamps in. I put timestamps in the Patreon.
I think maybe we should put them in this too.
Well, we technically were doing timestamps anyway, because we were saying, all right, now we're going to do the recap. Bye.
Oh, yeah.
So I will write down this timestamp and take note. All right. Let's get into this episode then. Where are we?
All right. Remember, friends, this is Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Now, so many things iconic happen in this episode. And I also think the idea of a show. Okay, so we think about Sex in the City, to get deep here for a second. But we think about Sex in the City had its first season, which was wildly successful. I mean, right? It was all over the place. It was super popular. And then, so coming back for its second season, it's cool to see like how things change, how things are bumped up, how they're feeling more comfortable in their characters too, right?
Yeah.
That's it? How about Miranda's hair? She does get it. She did get a haircut.
That was the big. Yeah, no, it was.
I like the new hair.
I mean, season. It's very, but again, it would lean in. It's leaning more into her being like a lesbian. But I mean,
she's not a lesbian.
She is definitely not a lesbian.
I think she might be getting back with Steve. Because I have a strong feeling that season 3 is going to be doing what all the fans have been saying to do. They got rid of Che. They got rid of Naya.
They had that.
They're going to bring Steve back. Oh, really?
Yeah, where he's like, I'm never doing.
Is he in the whole season next season?
No, but he's like in it. He's like in.
I love Steve,
and he's only in a couple episodes for this next season, actually. Apparently, which is dumb. But anyway, hopefully Brady's not in.
I'm pissed.
Anyway, so this episode
Brady's gonna start dating like Seema.
Oh God.
Anyway. Great, go ahead.
They did like a story like that on Modern Family, where like the youngest kid, Luke, like starts date like fucking this like 40-year-old woman.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't want to see the kids ever have sex. Like I don't unless they establish in the pilot that this child's already sexually active, then I don't need to watch them grow up into losing their virginity at some point.
I'm starting to get to this point where like I feel uncomfortable watching a movie that's about like teenagers high school kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I never thought about that before, but then I have been like,
yeah. Because when we watch them as a high schooler, it's like a coming of age kind of.
Yeah, it's like nothing.
I think it's meant to make you feel like aroused when you're watching it. But now I'm like if I watched like one of those older movies that I used to love, I'd probably still feel aroused because it would be the same feelings that I had watching it. But I'm like, but I shouldn't be getting horned up watching Casper as a person walking down the stairs to dance with Christina Ricci. As a 41-year-old, I should not be like, oh, I want to jump on that. What's that guy's name? Brad
Sex
Renfro?
in the City.
Is that Brad Renfro?
In what? Oh, Casper. No, that was
Do you think that's not his speaking voice? This is another Jonathan Taylor Thomas Lion King. He doesn't even do the voice of the ghost, I think, the whole time. I think.
Yeah, I think he does.
I don't think so, babe. I think
it's
the voice
Devon Sawa.
Devon Sawa, but I don't think he does the actual voice.
Oh. Who I don't know if they do the voice is the kid from Hocus Pocus.
No, he doesn't. That was supposed
Thackeray
to be
Binks.
DiCaprio. Yeah, no, he did the whole thing, but he had too much of an accent or something, so they went.
Oh, because that voice does not sound like it came from that kid. Anyway, you might want to readjust that timestamp. Take me out to the ball game.
I really want to find out Casper on screen. That's what he's credited at. So he is not the voice of Casper. Of course, I knew that. Of course, I know all.
I'm sure the voice of Casper is like some woman, because that's who played like all the little boys in like voiceover shows.
Remember when you found out Bart Simpson was a woman and you fucking it blows your mind?
Did that?
Well, I don't know. Like, it just in general, I thought it would blow anyone's mind.
Oh, no, I think I always knew that.
No, you didn't.
I swear I was growing up and I watched some.
You were like, I think that's a woman. That's how they.
I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons when I was 2. My parents never watched The Simpsons ever. Like, I never watched an episode of The Simpsons probably till I was like a teenager.
Oh, I was allowed to watch The Simpsons. It was animated. That's how they gotcha.
Well, I was kind of allowed. My parents just didn't really like it.
Some people weren't liking it.
My parents weren't liking it.
Okay, this one starts with, when you live in Manhattan, the odds of bumping into the one who broke your heart are extremely high. The odds of bumping into him when you look like shit are even higher. Did she say shit, or did I just write that as like that? Because I don't think you hear Carrie say shit that much. But anyway, that's how that starts. And in this,
she does.
I don't think she does either. But anyway, she probably she does something.
Oh well.
But she's walking down the street in this, smoking in her fur coat, and she thinks she sees Big, and it kind of slows down, and it's like all this crowd of people, and she sees Chris Noth is there, but then she kind of looks a little harder, and then somebody moves in front of him, and it's not him, it's some guy that looks like him. And then it says, and then she runs across the street and escapes. After a breakup, certain streets, locations, even times of day become off limits. I can't imagine what that would be like, at least in the places that I've had breakups. There's not really a way to run into anyone.
Yeah, you're not crossing paths at the Regency, like Luann and Tom.
Yeah, right. So, but I get that. But unlike, you just are very hyper aware of there's I'm gonna go on that street. So I get it. So Carrie's in her apartment, and there's a knock on the door, and in blows in Miranda with a new haircut. It is very red. This is the kind of red that I would dye my hair and Brad would be like, I'll give it a couple days till it settles. Because it just needs to settle. She just dyed it that morning and then didn't rinse it, I think. It's very
I am living, laughing, and loving Miranda because...
And her character, can you even put her next to the Miranda we're watching? And I know this is 30 years ago, but
I can kind of, because I want to believe that the actress that is Cynthia Nixon is doing some deep character work with Miranda. I want to believe. I mean, in And Just Like That. But in this...
I want to believe that too, but
maybe that's the problem, is in this, they were just kind of living these characters, and in the new one, they're trying to... I don't know.
Isn't it just nuts to think, though, that all these actresses on screen are younger than us, except for Kim Cattrall?
Yeah, aren't they much younger?
Well, they're like 34. So like Cynthia
Mm-hmm.
Nixon's like just there's no way she was ever younger than us. Never. She's always just been older than us. So Miranda comes in and she goes, really blows in with quite a one-liner here. Get your coat on, Anne Frank, we're going out. Because Carrie's been holding herself up in her apartment and Carrie's Jewish.
This is where we get the coat. I don't think it's because she's because Carrie's
There's
Jewish.
A couple lines in the show that establish that Carrie's Jewish.
Oh, I'm not discrediting that she would be Jewish. What I'm saying is
that's not why she's making.
I don't think that's why they made the joke. I think it was just because a hand.
But also, I don't. Maybe it's an even poorer taste then.
I don't think nowadays that would even be a. I don't think that would be in the show. Well, I wonder. It feels like a joke Anthony might make nowadays.
Okay,
friends, I'm gonna try to not compare this to Anne just like that the entire time. I'm gonna try and live in the moment.
Sure. I was just thinking, I'm like, are Anne Frank jokes okay now? Like, I know that like I've heard a lot of Helen Keller jokes.
I think they are. I think
it's got to be told by a Jewish person, and it's got to be actually funny, I guess.
I think that's the thing, is it just has to be funny. I think you can almost get away with saying anything if it's actually funny.
And even funnier if it's a bait and switch. Like my favorite Helen Keller joke is, why is Helen Keller such a bad driver? Because she's a woman. That's a great joke.
Okay,
it's a bait and switch.
Well, I agree. I think that
and it's true, women are bad drivers.
But the funny thing is, I would listen to that and be like, funny because it was a bait and switch. But then there'd other people that would be like, women are fucking terrible drivers.
That's what I just did about me.
What? I don't agree.
It works on both aspects. Anyway, so Charlotte goes, don't listen to her, Carrie. It's been a month. It takes half the total time you went out with someone to get over them. Which, I mean, I was going to be like, maybe we should discuss that. But I mean, come on. It takes what it takes. It takes what time it takes.
Honey, there's people I've gotten over in a day. And then there's people I have gotten over 5 years later.
I know.
Come on. So it depends on what the situation is.
Well, and then also it's fun when you break up with someone and then like, and I'm not talking about, I'm usually never talking about like Brad or Chris. I'm always talking about my ex-boyfriend.
In those situations,
when I say
in bad
shitty,
situations,
just always assume if I say something like bad, it's about
But
like it's like fun that you think that you're over it, but then like a couple years later, you're like, oh, I hate him, but like, oh, the trauma sure is there, and it's affecting parts of my life in new ways every day of my life.
I just look back at situations I was in and I think, you know what, John, you were young and you know better now. And all of them were learning experiences.
Yeah.
I feel some ounce of regret. And there are days when I kind of want to call up some people from my past and be like, I'm sorry that whatever. But, it's almost worthless at that point.
I feel like that would
push.
But if someone called you from like your childhood that like treated you really shitty or something to apologize, like I would appreciate that, but I would be like, why are you drumming this up? Because now I had forgotten about that, and thank you for.
I guess I'm thinking more about relationship situations, not me being a mean person to people, but maybe things that I did in a relationship that I now look back and I'm like, ew, why did you?
There's no reason to even like
agreed.
Unless it's going to actually help anyone out.
You have to be at peace in yourself with who you are. I can't find the peace. Here's the thing is like you want to show people that you've changed or that you're different and that you wouldn't do that. But what you kind of then also put together is that like it doesn't really matter if they think that you're a good person now.
Well, yeah, and like one of the best things my dad ever said to me, and I mean this is such a classic Don Kaczynski thing. I know I said this on other podcasts before, but it's when I was getting divorced, and I was like,
there's lots of people who just listen to our podcast though.
I mean, maybe. Hello, everyone. And it's a clean slate. You don't know about like all the annoying things I do yet. When I told my dad I was getting divorced, because I did not want to tell my mom. I was like, God, Dad, I'm like, I just don't want to like tell people. That's like the worst part is just like having to like tell people. And my dad's like, honestly, Amanda, people just aren't thinking about you as much as you think. Like, no, he wasn't saying that like Amanda, you, but just in general, people aren't going home and thinking about you.
Yeah,
because everyone else lives their own life.
It is
like
true.
Everyone else is doing their own thing. They are the star of their own story. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Kind of a brutal thing to say, Dad, but it's very true. And it's helped me through a lot of other situations, actually.
I try and remind myself of that when I'm in public, of being like, no one's looking at you. They're all concerned about, is someone looking at them?
Yeah.
But
that person is going through shit too. They have stuff going on in their life.
Yeah, but it is tough because I do tend to stand out in public as a 6'2", gay man, sashaying around.
But I also think a lot of stuff, a lot of it is like the fact that both of us are only children, so there is kind of a level of just like thinking that the world centers around you.
Don't tell people we're only children because they'll think we're terrible.
Oh, I'm sure no one could.
A lot of people think only children are like horrible scum of the earth. Some people have left amazing reviews of Amanda that are like, she's obviously an only child. Like, geez. Not on our podcast. We've only had people hate me on this.
I've been doing podcasting for 10 years. You can track this shit back to like the mid 2000s. Okay. Carrie. Let's get back to this show. Miranda. Charlotte says, "Don't listen to her." And Miranda's like, "Well, when I broke up with Eric, I got over him immediately." And Carrie's voiceover tells us Miranda used to call Eric the love of her life until he left her for another woman. Now she barely ever mentions him. So that was good. And then again, this wasn't explained or anything. This was just like, here's a little nugget. We're going to trust the audience to remember that for later. But that gave us everything we needed to know for the payoff later. Is that this was the love of her life. Also, never mentioned again in the entire series.
I'm like, okay.
Anyway, so now they're outside and they're walking down the street. Carrie's in her coat looking so fucking cool. Like, what's cooler than walking the street in heels and a fur coat and your hair just happening to look amazing? If you just bounced in on me and I didn't know you were coming and we're like, we're going out now, I'd be like, I need at least 45 minutes to like.
Oh, I would need to shower,
put on a bra, take off these pants I've been wearing for the past 4 days in a row.
Now, this fur coat is like very iconic. She wears it throughout the rest of the series.
No, she wears. Is she in a different fur coat at the end? In the bar, because I think later she's in a coat with just a fur collar. This is a full fur coat, right?
This is a full fur coat, and there's a piece at the bottom that is like removable.
Ooh, my.
Like if you see it, you can see a line kind of around maybe like 1.5 feet from the bottom hem, where you could take that piece off and like have a shorter version.
Oh, like those pants that you could
kinda, but like the chic version of that.
They're walking down the street. She's smoking a cigarette. They get in a cab. They pick up Samantha, who is being sent off by James and her boyfriend, who she met at the end of last season. Love of her. This is what they met when she was walking. Well, I love jazz.
Oh, yeah,
that scene.
God.
Well, I love jazz.
That feels like light years ago, though. For some reason,
10 weeks ago. It was almost 3 months ago.
Sad.
Oh,
sad.
God. Oh, the world.
Yeah, and they're like, oh my God, you seem so happy and so wonderful.
Yeah, and then Samantha, she gets it, and James is like, bye, love you, and they're both all lovey-dovey. Samantha gets in, she's waving, James is walking inside, and Charlotte goes, Samantha, this is so great. You seem so happy. And Samantha goes, me, James, and his tiny penis are all one big happy family. As she's waving. It was such a perfect line reading. Because again, even if you didn't watch all of season 1, which I feel like a lot of people did probably jump into season 2 because they heard that season 1 was good, and then you couldn't watch reruns back then. So I think people probably jumped in and they're giving you all of this information. Oh, just such a good show back then. And Carrie tells us that after 2 months, this is voiceover, after 2 months, despite all of James's sweetness and charm, Samantha still hadn't accepted James's shortcomings. So, tiny little dick, which I'm sure we had discussed in great detail.
Go back and check out that episode. This is a beautiful time to drop in the card.
Yeah.
Remember the cards?
Yeah, that's at 40 minutes.
Check out our other episodes on YouTube.
Maybe you
or
do that
other
one. That seems like a lot of work. All right.
If you throw them up in there, I can go back in and edit and adjust them.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I'll point this way. Check out this link.
It'll just pop up there. Anyway, guys, thank you for being here and learning with us.
So now they're at the Yankee game, and this just seems actually like a great
This
day.
Seems so fun.
Yeah, it looks like the perfect day. It's not sunny out, but it looks like it's warm. It's warm enough, but like they have to be their chilies.
But what we come to really find out is that the only reason that they're sitting up here in the worst, most horrible spot is so that Carrie can smoke. Our Carrie needs to smoke. Now, did you notice behind them there were guys and they were smoking a joint?
Oh no!
They were like, as Carrie's like sitting there talking about smoking, I think he lights it up, or one of them goes like this, and then like passes it to the other one, and then the only time you're passing something to smoke is if you smoking a joint.
Oh, that's I mean, that's why they're up there too then. But yeah, Samantha's like, why are we even so they're at the game. I know. Miranda is all about the game. She's actually really funny in this. Mm-hmm. She's like loves which actually this does track because she continues to like sports.
And she's also really horny for the new Yankee.
There's a new Yankee, and Samantha says, "Why are we even sitting all the way up here?" And Carrie says, "Because this is the only place I can smoke without Giuliani putting me away for 10 years." Which just reminds me of this is at the time where Giuliani was he a hero yet? He wasn't even a hero yet.
Well, what year was this in?
This is pre 9/11. He was a hero after 9/11.
Yeah. And what has happened now? Anyway.
Seasons Pittsburgh.
Four Seasons landscaping. You're actually going to go stay at the Four Seasons Pittsburgh?
No, I was just trying to think of where that landscaping company was. Wasn't it in like Pittsburgh?
I think it was in like Long Island or something, wasn't it?
I don't know. It looked like it was.
Anyway, I'd say his fall from grace has been amazing, or whatever. Yeah. I can't do.
You got me coughing. I got too excited there. Okay, Carrie. Okay, so Samantha goes, "These seats suck. This hot dog suck. My entire life sucks." And Charlotte goes, Your life doesn't suck. You have a man who loves you." Which, I mean, as someone who's been in several relationships with men who like.
Charlotte's been annoying. In almost every new episode, every single episode. Charlotte is in a relationship in every episode.
Yes, but that is
a new one,
right? But this is also just Charlotte thinks that. Charlotte thinks that your life is good as long as someone out there loves you. That's all that matters.
Well, that's what I believe. Oh, I live my life only for men. Bring on the men. I think that should be in our June Joan musical edition.
Bring on the men. Oh, God.
Linda Eder? Honey!
Can we do that Linda Eder impression?
I was obsessed. Like, Man of the Matcha! Linda Eder!
Isn't it a Broadway leading ladies? And she'd be like, ah!
It was. It was. It's amazing. Broadway leading ladies. You guys, if you like musicals, you should watch that. Yeah. But she also has the whole album too, I think, and a special.
The thing where they had that little bitch Anna Kendrick comes on and sing "Life Upon the Wicked Stage" with all the cabaret girl. Okay, this is giving you a little taste. But of like June.
Elaine Stritch, isn't it? Maybe this is a great idea. Maybe we should recap some of that for a section of our musical episode, our June.
Okay, that's 4 weeks away, so I can't even wrap my head around what a disaster that episode is going to be. Okay, not a disaster, like a good disaster. Great.
Oh yeah, baby, a beautiful disaster.
Samantha says, I don't think you understand the severity of the situation. Would you like to make love to this every day? And she like bites off a piece of her hot dog. And Carrie goes, I don't know. Is it kosher? See another Jewish joke here.
Hey.
And Samantha goes, don't make me laugh. It's tragic. And now a fly ball comes.
Part made me cackle because the delivery of the it's tragic was so good.
Yeah.
And it made me sad.
Yeah, well, fly ball comes. Carrie gets the ball. Everyone's very excited. It's cute. So, and Miranda's just really funny too, because Miranda's like really into the scene, and like Carrie gets the ball, and Miranda's like, "Do you realize what a big deal this is?" All that. So later after the game, they're all waiting to get the ball signed by the new Yankee. And some baseball player walks by and Samantha goes, "Did you see his bulge?" And Miranda's like, he was wearing a cup. And Samantha goes, "Well, honey, his cup runneth over." And Carrie laughs very sweetly. And Miranda goes, "Okay, it's official. You're drunk." Which also, Miranda, what the fuck do you want me to do? Because I can't fucking win here. You make me come out. You call me Anne Frank. I get a little tipsy. I'm laughing. And now you're being a bitch.
Now these baseball players, though, baby. When I was like 12 or something, we went to the baseball game, the Diamondbacks
game. You pulled what
Samantha
does at the end here?
I got to go into the locker room. Somehow my dad or one of my dad's friends knew one of the umpires or something like that. And so we got to go in the locker room. I didn't see any, dong, unfortunately. And just like that, they didn't show the dick in this. They would have shown the dick in And Just Like That.
Or Euphoria.
So 1 point for And Just Like That.
Yeah, true. At least we get, show me, I want more dicks on my screen. So Carrie says, and Charlotte goes, "She's allowed to be drunk. She's going through a breakup." Now the new Yankee comes out, and I originally thought he might be a real athlete because I thought he was a bad actor at first. I was like, is this like a Keith Hernandez and Seinfeld situation? But I think it's that he's just doing kind of or it might be his real accent, but he was doing a very, very specific kind of New York accent, like a lazy Stevie accent.
I kind of wonder if he's trying to play dim baseball player or something, because he does seem like he seems half there.
Yeah,
weirdly.
But I'd still
write his face if necessary. Anyway.
Hang on. I know people don't like when we click. This is not about you, but this was written on me and Jody's thing, which I'm totally fine with. I never even thought of that.
If you guys don't want to hear us click, you can click out of this. But we love you still. Yes? What were you going to share with us? Amanda?
I was just looking at what this guy has done. He's known for The Master of Disguise.
That movie with Dana Carvey?
I think so, yeah.
And what character did he play?
Trent. Trent. And he was in 4 episodes of Judging Amy.
Oh my God, Judging Amy. He's retired now. What's his name?
His name is Mark Devine.
I bet you he's aged well. Anyway, let's keep it pushing.
Big love.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anyway, so new Yankee, they talk to him. He signs Carrie's ball. They make some ball jokes, and afterward, Carrie runs after him. She's like, "I'm going to ask him to the Dolce & Gabbana party." She runs after him. She's like, "Hey, Yankee!" And this is the level of drunk I always used to. This is the perfect level of drunk, I think, where she's right on an up. Like she's right at the peak of her high, but she's not too drunk. But then once you start coming down, it's like a disaster. But she's like at that perfect happy drunk right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drunk enough to ask the new Yankee to the Dolce & Gabbana party.
This is how I am when I'm on cocaine.
Oh my God.
Like for that sweet 5 minutes where it's like working before you like keep having to keep doing it. But I'd ask someone else out if I was coked out. But she's like, "Hey, Yankee, let's go to the Dolce & Gabbana party." And Carrie comes back. She's like, "I did it." And they're like, "What's gotten into you?" And And she's like, you told me to get back out there. And Miranda's like, yeah, but I thought with some like bullshit rebound guy, nobody rebounds with the new Yankee. And Carrie's like, well, maybe I'm the new Carrie, which she's kind of being a little obnoxious, but it kind of works because then she kind of gets beaten down a little bit.
I don't mind her in this episode more than I do other times. Yeah.
Now Samantha like probably could be arrested, should be arrested for this, but Samantha goes to stare at some dicks. But when you think about the fact that like she's not doing it just because she's a horn dog, she's doing it because like she's been with such a small dick for a little while.
Okay. I don't know. I think they call that assault nowadays, probably.
Yeah. Well,
staring at. Well, I don't know.
Because then the one guy that like she's looking at, he's like, "Can I help you?" And then she just continues to stare as the door is closing, and she like leans in with the door as it closes. So,
but like someone like her can probably seems to get away with it.
Right. So now, yeah, we don't see any dicks though. Anyway, Carrie. Now, Carrie, she's writing, and she poses the question, what are the breakup rules? And now we get these interviews, which I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about these. But these are a little less awkward.
The first guys that they interview, there's two of them, right?
Yeah.
They were the smokers, the one that's closest to us.
Okay. And he says, he goes, whatever you do, man, don't cry. Because if you do go back together again, you're the guy who cried.
He looks like this guy that I had this like thing going with for a while, who he though was like DL.
What? Oh, yeah, I got it.
DL. On the down low.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. So then a woman says, don't call or see him until 3 months have passed. That's how long it takes to lose the weight you gain while you're breaking up. And then the guy who was naked just a second ago said, give her whatever the fuck she wants. Just don't sign a motherfucking thing. And then some woman who's the hot dog vendor, this lady, this like brash old New York woman, she's like, change your name, change your phone number, change your job. They're all bums.
You know, I think I could see you playing like that part, maybe down the line.
It's like, yeah.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. I more meant that she just was like kind of old and busted. Yeah. Just kidding.
Friday night.
Someone's gonna write a review and be like, I hate how mean John is to Amanda. Actually, not John. I hate how mean this guy is to Just in case you didn't know, we've been friends since like forever.
You are one of like 5 people that could have pulled that off.
Anyway. It's very obvious. I don't think any of those things, and that's why I think so that's why that can be funny.
Yeah.
If I was like, you're fat, ugly, and old, like, and believed it, I don't think that would be a joke.
That would be a really interesting dynamic to listen to, like a girl and her gay bestie, and he's like, "You're fat,"
just outright.
Yeah, and
there are like, gays that are like, there are gay guys that are like that. Like, I'm not, because I've experienced all of it.
Right, we're both jaded enough that we have a sweet spot in our friendship. The new Yankee. Okay, so now it's Friday night. It's the Dolce and Gabbana party. My favorite Dolce and Gabbana thing is when Alan Cummings on. He's like, "We're not going to make you go out there and look like a whale. We're Dolce and Gabbana for fun."
Oh yeah, when they're dressing her and Heidi Klum.
Yes, great episode too. The real me.
Dolce and Gabbana though is in hot water.
Is it why?
Yeah, they've done a lot of really wild racist imagery.
Oh yeah, no, I think I saw that on TikTok. Not surprising. The new Yankee is running 20 minutes late, and so is Carrie, and she's like kind of running around her apartment, and she knocks something over, and she finds a selfie before there were selfies of her and Big in bed. He's taking this picture, and she goes, I developed my first breakup rule: destroy all pictures where he looks sexy and you look happy, which was really heartbreaking, that last part. Sad. And you look happy. Oh, that's rough. That was I mean, whoever wrote that has gone through it.
Well, I think this was written by Michael Patrick King.
Yeah, I know, but whoever gets
so what has happened? What happened? What happened, MPK? What happened?
Anyway, we're at this party. Charlotte's also there. Oh, bubble in my throat there. Charlotte is dating Paul Erickson, who has some Paku eyes for one thing. He's looks crazy, but he basically his whole storyline is that he grabs his balls. I don't know if this is a thing. I have never seen anything like this. That said, I wouldn't date if I was dating a guy who did this, I wouldn't even tell him so that he could fix it. I would just. That tells me everything I need to know about that guy's level of self-awareness.
I remember someone who would do a lot of adjustments of themselves a lot, but it was when we were younger. Yeah, when we were younger, so it feels different. This guy's 40, so, and in a suit and tie.
Yeah, I don't look. I've obviously dated guys who do this in front of me, or if we're all hanging out and it's all of our friends. That's
well, I think there's times as a person. This is one time I guess I can throw I can't talk about periods and all that, but I do have a penis and test balls, right?
Yeah, tell me why you do
and
this.
So you would have now. I would what he's doing. No, that feels like he has a nervous tick, or he has crabs or something, with as much as he's dealing with it. Mm-hmm. But there are times, let's say you've done something, you maybe were sitting for dinner and then you were trying to go to somewhere else. It's
but that's a single readjustment.
That's what I'm saying.
This seems like a nervous tick.
This is obviously a nervous tick, or a crabs type situation. It's itchy down, or a jock itch type thing. Anyway, let's keep it pushing.
Well, I know. I'm just thinking about this time I had this yeast infection, and it was the most.
Sexy.
And I was a dog walker, and walking dogs when it was the worst yeast infection ever. And the itchiness, it just, oh my God. It could not. It was awful. I don't want
to try and one up you here, but I did have gonorrhea, and that's the clap, right? Now that is curable, y'all. So
most STDs are curable.
What happened was, there's stuff that comes out of your urethra, discharge, basically. Right. And so when you're wearing clothes and stuff,
it burn?
Yes, it's burning, and then the discharge is coming out. And if you're trying to wear clothes, it's getting on your clothes, touching that stuff to your clothes.
Yeah.
Holy. And I had to work the day that I
it's bad news.
No. Oh my God. No. I say, if people have yeast infections or gonorrhea, they should be able to get public assistance and subsidies, really.
Yeah, you should at least be able to get paid time off, because I need to sit at home and scratch my fucking vagina all day. Okay?
Yeah, I need it.
So they're at this thing, and so Carrie's noticing that this guy's grabbing his balls. They don't really draw that much attention to it. But anyway, Carrie has another moment where she thinks she sees Big, and it turns out it's not. And she says to Charlotte, "Oh my God, I thought I just saw Big." And Charlotte says, "Oh, do you think he'll be here?" And Carrie's like, "Oh, I don't know. I never even thought about it." But then in a voiceover, Carrie's like, "No, of course I thought about it. That's why I maxed out my credit card to buy this dress." And so that is also relatable. Big doesn't show up, so now Carrie's walking home with the new Yankee, whose name is Joe, and she's like, "I guess I'll get to know him." So they kiss on the street, and she tells us she let the new Yankee get to first base. Now we have this iconic scene at the diner, and you just everyone knows what it is, because at the end of the scene, it ends with Miranda she's fucking on her period. Speaking of female vaginas,
I kind of get her in this moment.
Okay, but this comes out of fucking nowhere, and she is she's almost crying when she yells at them.
It's
can't we just talk about anything else?
Yeah, she just wishes she was in a I get it.
Okay,
she's
but
jealous,
would you be
and
this
bitter.
Nasty to your friends?
No, I would be behind closed doors, not to them. I'd just be bitching it to myself, or to my therapist. I'd be like, all my friends do is talk about their relationships.
But also, that is a more interesting. It's interesting. It's a new thing to talk about.
Eventually, though, I will say one thing that is very tiring, and I think people would understand this, is if you're like friends with people and they are constantly talking badly about their relationship.
Yeah.
Or like,
then what do you do?
And then they don't do anything about it. Or like, it's basically they just want a place to vent to you about it. But then you're also like, okay, but so now I'm supposed to also be equally as supportive of your relationship? It doesn't sound like
I'll give someone like advice or like my opinion a couple times, but if they just keep making the same choices, then I'm like, I can't.
Well, also some people are fine taking your advice until they hear something they don't want to hear, and then you don't know what you're talking about because you're single, blah 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 blah.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
no, I would never. I don't. I certainly don't give my opinion on like parenting. Oh God, I
try sometimes, but because I was a teacher and have a degree and blah blah blah. But still, again, people don't want to hear it. Sometimes they don't.
But anyway, so they're talking about just big and everything, and Miranda has this green turtleneck on, and I guess jeans, but Carrie is on page 6. Charlotte has the newspaper. And I guess this is breakfast, even though they clearly filmed this like at night. Just the lighting looks weird. But Samantha, Carrie's like, oh, I'm on page 6. Or sorry. Charlotte says you're on page 6. And Samantha goes, oh, well, that's going to really stick it to big. Like, you won. And Carrie's like, no, it's not about that. And Samantha's like, oh, please, I can see right through you. You're using this new Yankee. And Miranda's like, I'm going to go get the check. So she walks up to get the check, and first she wants to talk about her new Palm Pilot, which, Miranda, if you want to change the conversation away from me being on page 6, you're gonna have to do better than being like, check out my new fucking Palm Pilot, sick.
Yeah,
I mean, right? You can change the subject.
I totally agree.
About your
Plus, like, I would actually want to know if my friend's on page 6. That doesn't have to do with their relationship. I'd be like, what? My friend's in the paper? Ooh.
So anyway, she's like, I'm gonna Charlotte wants to talk about her boyfriend's ball grabbing. So this is when Miranda goes to get the check, and Miranda's like, does he have really low-hanging balls? And I feel like this also isn't just about men. This is an actual conversation about like, why do men do that? I think that's an interesting conversation. It's not anyone bitching about my relationship, my problem. It's a real conversation. Why would men have to do that? Samantha makes a good point. Maybe he has low-hanging balls. That's what I would think. Like, maybe his balls are really, like, I feel like you'd want to have tight balls if you're a guy, right? It's probably better. It's probably more.
It depends, I think. But
I hate this cat. She's getting so old now, so she can't jump up on anything. So she's just claws. That really fucking hurt. Okay. Where are we? Can this guy not wait?
Okay.
So Miranda comes
balls. Miranda's fucking fed up with this shit.
Miranda, why can't you, this is like 7th grade with bank accounts. I mean, aren't we better than this? I mean, 4 intelligent women. She's on the verge of fucking tears. She's putting on this hideous jacket and then this toque, which, like, I thought maybe on this rewatch, I'd be like, maybe it's not supposed to be comedic, or like, but like, is this supposed to be comedic? She looks so stupid with this hat.
I think it's supposed to be a thing.
You think like she's supposed to look dumb as she's doing this,
kinda, like, or hilarious. Just like frumpy.
Okay,
her typical Miranda thing, like not a sexy, vivacious woman. They don't want her to be like sexy and vivacious because she's old and miserly and sad that she's single and all her friends are getting fucked. Yeah.
It is a funny juxtaposition because she's really reading it to them, and then she's like, here's my fucking fleece hat with a little pom-pom.
It's like the outfit she wears when she gets like sexually harassed walking to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like the most broke down, baggy. Anyway.
There's another crazy outfit she wears in the park with Carrie where she has like a windbreaker with a hood, and she has the hood up, but then a hat on top of the hood.
Oh,
it's
God.
like a boat hat, kind of. Do you know what I'm
talking about? So I did make a strong claim that Anne just like that needs Pat Fields, but I have been seeing some TikToks of old Carrie outfits, and I have been like, oh. Well, here's my feeling though. At least they had character. Anyway, keep going.
Samantha now. Oh, Carrie arrives home after shopping with Charlotte, and she's bought a whole bunch of shit. Meanwhile, we have this little sequence of Samantha attempting to make James good in bed. It's very funny. Like, this is a very well played comedic scene. It's a sex scene. You don't really see anything. But she's like, okay, so you're on the bottom and I'm gonna rear down and you're gonna push up as hard as you can. And like, it's just not happening. God, that sucks. Also, is this guy not seeing how obviously not into it she is? And I would be irritated. I am irritated at this guy. Because how have you lived this long and no one's ever told you that you can't even feel?
Yeah, I would be more insecure.
And like he just seems very much like, oh, she's into this. Okay, I'll try that. That's gonna work. He should be more concerned about this.
Yeah.
Anyway, at Charlotte's, she gives her boyfriend a gift. Oh, so this wraps up the Charlotte storyline completely now. Charlotte's in her bedroom. The guy comes in and she goes, oh, I got you a gift from Barney's, and it's briefs, like men's underwear. And she says it's like the Wonder Bra for men. And his line reading here is so funny. I've always thought it was funny. He goes, we haven't even made love yet and you're already out shopping for me? Slow down. And then he's like, what are you going to be doing? It was a very, very funny line reading. And he flips out and he leaves. And then Carrie goes, well, I guess that was it. It only lasted 3 weeks. Charlotte appropriately was over him in a week and a half. It was like a perfect little bow on that.
Yeah.
Later, Miranda is dressed even more insanely. I think they're trying to make her look comfortable, but I would argue that overalls is like a commitment to an outfit, don't you think? And
I love an overall.
I love an overall, but if I was just trying to schlep around all day,
no.
Overalls are such an effort to put on that, like, that's an outfit.
I think an overall is like if you're gardening or doing paint work at your home. Or like I wouldn't wear that out. No. Well,
why overalls over something more comfy and flattering, like, I don't know, sweatpants and a t-shirt? I just don't find overalls to be comfy.
Well, nowadays they'd be wearing something different.
Okay, well, she looks bad, but Miranda's walking around on the street. She sees Eric and the woman that
just so happens to see the guy that she brought up once.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this episode that we haven't heard about before. Okay.
He's with that sucks too, to see him and then you look like that. I mean, this is one of top 3 words.
Running.
Oh my gosh. And he's with the woman that she left him for, and he looks happy. He has like his arm around her. I mean, it's like fucking worse. So she hides behind a bus stop. I mean, oof. So now, last scene, this is where it's happening. Carrie's at the bar with Joe, and she does see Big, and like, and she the voiceover says,
"This is the moment."
It's so good.
And the pace has been clipping.
I mean, they just wrapped up Miranda's storyline. They wrapped up Charlotte's storyline. Samantha's is ongoing. But breakup rule number 4: don't stop thinking about him, even for a moment, because that's the moment he'll appear. Oh God, this is so good. So Big, and this also logistically in her head, she's like, all right, you're with the new Yankee. You look great. You're wearing a great outfit. Your hair looks great. She's got a fur coat on, a different fur coat, but it has a fur collar. Big walks over. And she's like, this is going to be the perfect post-breakup conversation. And he's like, hey, kid. And she's like, oh, hey, this is, and he goes, oh, I know who this is. I'm a big fan. And then Big leans into Carrie. He touches her shoulder and he says, I saw your picture in the paper. You never looked better. And then right as he touches her shoulder, all the music fades away. It goes to slow motion and it's just a heartbeat.
Which I get this though. This is real.
It's been so long since I've had feelings like this for someone, but like I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, and oh my God, like it's a visceral scene. Because that's exactly what
beautiful. It's beautiful. Like. And the reason it's so impactful is because everything has been building up. It's building up tension.
And you don't
she
see
sees
it
him
coming,
the first
really.
time. She doesn't see him. Then she doesn't see him. Then they leave you for a little bit, not even thinking about it. Just like us, the same thing happens to us when Big appears when we least expect it.
It was so perfect. And also, as an adult now, I know that Big 100% knew what he was doing there. I mean, good move on Big's part.
I mean, you've never looked better.
And then just a little touch.
I'm dumb. Why'd they break up again?
Oh, because he didn't want to introduce her to his mom. Remember? And then they were going to go on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
You've never looked back. And also because it's also it's a breakup where no one really did anything that wrong, which also kind of sucks. It's much easier, I think, if somebody really fucked up and there's no way you can go back, but you've never looked better. And then just this heartbeat as he walks away. And it's just this kind of long shot of Carrie just staring at him. And anyway, now Carrie and Joe are walking home, and he tries to kiss her again, and she starts crying as they're kissing. And she's like, I'm sorry. I can't do this. You have to leave me. I don't want to go with you anymore. Just go. That guy at the bar, just go. And she's like, fine. If you're not going to go, I'm going to leave. So then Carrie goes to a payphone. And if you know what's coming here, it's like, all right, we get it. But the first time I saw this, it is a pretty good reveal here, because she goes to a payphone and she's like, hey, I know that things are kind of weird between us right now, but can we please meet at our spot in 15 minutes? And Carrie walks into this restaurant and she pans across the room, and you don't see who's going to be there. And then the camera finally reveals that it's Miranda. And Carrie sits and she's like, I know you're annoyed, but I saw Big and I completely shut down. And Miranda's like, I get it. I saw Eric today. I hid. I forgot how hard it really can be. And then they have a little back and forth. Carrie eats some of Miranda's French fries, and she's like, these are cold. And Miranda's like, so what? And then it says, and finally, the most important breakup rule: no matter who broke your heart or how long it takes to heal, you'll never get through it without your friends.
Aww, that's really sweet.
I mean, that was such a good episode. Yay!
I completely agree. And I'm so glad that we're back in it, baby.
We're back, baby.
Hey, guys, if you're interested, you can go check out our Patreon. It's $6 a month. We do weekly episodes. And, it's just a cute little community over there. So check her out. Also, you can check out our Instagram, but, I hate doing it. So please don't.
Is Sex and the City on Netflix, by the way?
Allegedly, I think the first 2 seasons are.
Oh, probably just in the U.S. though, Joan.
Oh, yeah. That's unfortunately. That's unfortunate. Hey,
okay. I wanted to say what's the next week. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I can't hear you for some reason. Oh, is it because the music's playing?
Yeah. It's okay.
What's next week?
Next week, The Awful Truth. Samantha tells her boyfriend his shortcomings. Charlotte gets a puppy. Miranda talks dirty with her lover.
Oh, how dirty. Hey, when I like to do dirty talk, I like to whisper into a gentleman's ear. Hey, they say nothing lasts forever. Dreams change. Trends come and go. But friendships never go out of style. Bye, guys.